Not everyone deserves access to your inner world. Your thoughts, your pain, your ambition, these things are sacred. They are yours. But too often, we hand them over like spare change, giving people a front row seat to our deepest insecurities and our boldest dreams. We speak, hoping for understanding. We share, hoping for support. But what we forget is that not everyone is capable of carrying the weight of our truth. Not everyone is built to honor it. Some people hear your pain and feel empowered by it not because they want to help, but because it makes them feel stronger than you. Some hear your dreams and secretly hope you fail, because your growth makes them feel left behind. There are people in your life who don't deserve the blueprint to your future. They haven't earned the right to see the raw footage behind your mission. They offer opinions with no experience. They offer judgment without effort. And when you give them access to your inner world, you give them power they haven't earned. That power, they'll use it against you, not always directly, but slowly, subtly. They plant seeds of doubt. They call your vision unrealistic. They question your timeline. And before you know it, your ambition starts shrinking to fit inside their limitations. You need to protect your inner world like it's a battlefield, because it is. This is where your self-belief lives, where your purpose takes shape, where your resolve is tested, and the more you let unqualified people walk through it, the more damage they'll do. You don't owe anyone access to your thoughts. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your silence, your hustle, or your mindset. This isn't about arrogance, it's about preservation, it's about focus. It's about realizing that the wrong words at the wrong time can derail months of progress. One careless comment can make you second guess everything you've built. It's not enough to work in silence, you need to protect your silence. Choose who gets to know what you're building. Choose who gets to see your vulnerability. Choose who gets to walk with you through the fire. Because the ones who truly deserve access to your inner world won't just sit and listen, they'll hold the line with you. They'll add discipline when you're slipping. They'll remind you who you are when you start to forget. Until then, build your walls high. Let your discipline speak louder than your voice. Let your consistency speak louder than your words. Because your inner world is not a community playground. It's a forge, and only the worthy should be allowed inside. Some people want you to stay weak so they can feel strong. It's not always obvious. They won't say it out loud. They'll do it in silence, with smiles, with backhanded compliments, with advice that sounds like concern but is laced with doubt. They'll act like they're in your corner, but deep down they need you to stay beneath them. Your weakness validates their lack of effort. Your struggle comforts them, because if you rise, if you level up, then suddenly they're forced to look in the mirror and question everything they're not doing. People like that don't want you to grow. They want you dependent. They want you doubting yourself. They want you apologizing for your ambition, downplaying your progress, staying humble for their comfort. Why? Because your strength threatens their comfort zone. Your discipline reminds them of their excuses. Your silence reminds them of their noise. They don't want you strong, they want you predictable, manageable, the version of you they've gotten used to. The version that asks for permission, that second guesses, that keeps their ego intact. So when you start waking up early, grinding in silence, making moves they can't understand, they start feeling insecure. They call you obsessed, distant, changed, and they're right, you have changed, and that's the point, because you're not supposed to stay the same. You're not here to keep people comfortable, you're here to grow, to lead, to win, and that means outgrowing people who only support you when you're losing. It's a hard truth. Not everyone clapping for you wants you to win. Some are just clapping because they think you'll fail anyway. And when you don't, when you break patterns, when you defy the odds, they get quiet. That's your signal, that's your wake-up call. That's when you realize you were never the problem, your power was. Your potential was, and the stronger you become, the more their true colors show. You don't owe them your weakness. You don't owe anyone a version of yourself that makes them feel better about not showing up. You owe yourself strength. You owe yourself discipline. You owe yourself the uncomfortable process of breaking free from the people who only loved your wounded version. Because the moment you rise, truly rise, you'll lose people. But what you gain in return is clarity, freedom, control. So stop shrinking. Stop diluting your fire to warm people who would let you freeze. Get strong and stay strong, not for revenge, not for validation, but because your mission demands it. Because your future self is counting on it. Because you were never meant to live under someone else's ceiling. Break through, rise up, and remember, real strength doesn't ask for approval, it just shows up. Every single day, you're sharing blueprints with people who don't build, and that's your first mistake. You're giving away your vision, the raw, unfiltered idea of what you want to become, to people who have never laid a brick in their own lives. People who talk, not do. People who critique, not create. You're pouring your plans, your strategy, your next moves into ears that don't even have the mindset to understand the weight of what you're carrying. And what happens? They respond with confusion, doubt, dismissiveness. They question you not because you're wrong, but because they've never had the courage to be right. These people don't build. They don't wake up early. They don't sacrifice. They don't study. They don't grind when it's boring, when it's lonely, when there's no spotlight. They coast, they complain, they blame, and you think they're going to understand your vision. They can't even commit to their own. So when you share your blueprints with them, your discipline plan, your business idea, your physical goals, your purpose, they treat it like a fantasy. They give you reasons it won't work. They laugh, or worse, they nod and then disappear the moment the work gets real. They don't see the foundation. They don't see the structure. They see a dream and they call it impossible because they've never had the will to try. You need to protect your plans. Your vision is not for public consumption. It's not a social event. It's sacred. Your blueprints are supposed to be locked in your chest, guarded by discipline, built in silence, revealed only when the structure is already standing. Talking about it doesn't build it. Sharing it with people who have never poured concrete doesn't get the job done. And every time you open your mouth to people who don't understand what it means to sacrifice, you invite weakness into your system. People who don't build will always have time to talk, to debate, to dissect your vision, because they're not busy executing their own. Builders are quiet, focused. They don't care what others think because they're too deep in the work. That's who you need to be. That's who you need around you. People who understand the value of blueprints. People who bring tools, not opinions, who show up with effort, not ego. Your vision doesn't need permission. It needs protection, so lock it down. Let your work be louder than your words. Let your discipline prove the doubters wrong. And when the building's done, when the dust settles, and the structure stands tall, then you won't have to explain a thing. They'll see it, but by then, it'll be too late for them to catch up. Because while they were talking, you were building, and you never needed their validation to begin with. Every doubt they plant becomes a delay in your mission. And it starts small, a comment, a look, a question that doesn't sound like concern but feels like a jab. They say things like, "Are you sure?" Or "That's risky," or "Most people don't make it doing that." At first, you brush it off. You keep moving, but then it lingers. It starts echoing in your head when you're alone. You start second, guessing your plan. You hesitate. You adjust not out of strategy, but out of fear. And just like that, the mission slows. Progress stalls. Momentum fades. That's how it works. Doubt isn't always loud. Sometimes it's whispered by the people you thought were in your corner. People who smile but secretly don't want you to change. Because if you rise, they have to look at what they're not doing, and that scares them, so they plant seeds. Not to destroy you outright, but to distract you, to derail your focus just enough to keep you from reaching your full pace. They say they're looking out for you, but if that were true, they'd tell you to keep going, to stay locked in, to trust your gut. But instead, they ask questions that chip away at your confidence, and if you let that doubt take root, it grows. Slowly, quietly, but it grows. You start to hesitate when you should act. You overthink when you should execute. You seek reassurance when you should trust your preparation. And every moment you spend questioning yourself is time stolen from the mission. Because missions demand speed, precision, certainty, and doubt breaks all of that down. Doubt doesn't kill you all at once, it weakens you piece by piece, until you wake up one day and realize you're not even moving forward anymore. You're just circling the same thoughts, waiting for clarity that only action could have given you. That's why you must be ruthless with your focus, relentless with your mindset. You can't afford to entertain every voice. You can't afford to let people rent space in your mind when they've never paid the price to be there. If someone isn't building with you, they don't get to question the blueprints. If someone isn't running beside you, they don't get to talk about your pace. The mission is too important. The cost is too high. Every doubt you allow becomes a delay. And in a world this competitive, delays can destroy you. You know what you're doing. You know what it takes. You've done the work, you've built the discipline, so guard your mind, be selective with who gets in. Let your confidence come from your commitment, not their comfort, because they don't carry your burden. They don't face your battles, and they don't deserve to decide how far you go. Stay on course, eliminate doubt, finish the mission. Their comfort zone is your prison cell. It sounds harsh, but it's true. The people around you, especially the ones who are afraid to change, live in a place where everything stays the same, predictable, safe, and unchallenging. They cling to what they know, even if it's limiting or toxic, because stepping out means facing discomfort, risk, and uncertainty. And when you try to break free, when you start pushing boundaries and aiming higher, they don't just watch, they pull. They drag you back, consciously or unconsciously, into the safety of their own limited world. Their comfort zone is built with walls made of excuses, fear, and habit, and those walls look like friendship, loyalty, and real talk. But it's a trap. When you stay inside those walls, you're a prisoner. Your growth is stunted, your dreams shrink, your potential suffocates because comfort zones don't challenge you to improve. They reward stagnation, they applaud mediocrity. And if you stay too long, you start to believe those lies yourself, that you're not capable, that success is for other people, that discipline is too hard. The hardest part is that these prison cells aren't always obvious. They come disguised as concern, advice, or even love. Why push so hard? Why not just be happy with what you have? You don't need to change who you are. Those words sound nice, but they're shackles. They're chains disguised as kindness. And if you listen, you'll find yourself trapped not because you chose to stay, but because you forgot you had the power to leave. Breaking out of their comfort zone isn't easy. It's painful. It means loneliness. It means sacrifice. It means rejecting the familiar and stepping into the unknown. But freedom only exists beyond those walls. Freedom exists where you challenge yourself every day, where discomfort fuels your growth, where discipline is your guide, not your enemy. When you push past the limits of their comfort zone, you find strength you never knew you had. You find purpose that outlasts temporary pain. Remember, the people who pull you back aren't trying to help. They're trying to survive in their own small world. And that's okay. It's not your mission to save them. Your mission is to build yourself, to rise above, to break free from their prison cells. And when you do, you won't just escape, you'll redefine what's possible. You'll set new standards, you'll inspire others to break free too. So don't get comfortable in their comfort zone. Don't settle for a life that's easy to explain but hard to respect. Your potential is too big. Your mission is too important. The prison cell is waiting, but so is freedom. The choice is yours. Real growth demands silence, isolation, and relentless focus. It's not about loud declarations or constant validation. Growth happens in the quiet moments when no one is watching, when distractions fall away, and when your mind is locked in on the work that only you can do. The world around you is noisy, filled with opinions, doubts, and distractions, but real progress requires shutting all that out. It requires the discipline to turn off the noise and look inward, to face your weaknesses without excuses or defenses. Silence is more than the absence of sound. It's the space where clarity is born. When you're silent, you hear your true thoughts, you understand your real goals, you uncover the fears holding you back. But silence isn't easy. Our minds are restless, craving stimulation and approval. That's why silence feels uncomfortable. But if you want to grow, you have to welcome that discomfort. You have to learn to be alone with your thoughts and not run from them. Silence sharpens your focus and steels your will. Isolation isn't loneliness. It's a choice to remove yourself from environments and people that dilute your energy or pull you off course. Isolation means protecting your time and space, even if it means disappointing others or appearing distant. It means recognizing that not everyone deserves a seat at your table, especially when you're building something serious. Isolation is where you cultivate your skills, habits, and mindset without outside interference. It's where you grind day after day while the world chases distractions. Relentless focus is the engine that drives growth forward. It's the refusal to be sidetracked by short-term gratification or external noise. It means setting a mission and locking in on it with the intensity of a warrior. Relentless focus demands sacrifice of time, comfort, and sometimes relationships because growth is never convenient. It asks you to prioritize your goals above fleeting pleasures. It requires consistency, the kind that shows up even when motivation fades. Together, silence, isolation, and relentless focus form the foundation of real growth. They create an environment where you can build discipline, improve skills, and deepen understanding. They help you avoid the traps of distraction and doubt, but they also test your character. They expose your weaknesses and force you to confront them head on. That's why many avoid this path, because it's lonely and hard. But those who commit to this process become unstoppable. They develop resilience. They build confidence that isn't shaken by external validation or failure. They learn to trust themselves and their vision. Growth becomes not just a goal but a way of life. You stop needing to explain yourself or seek approval. You simply do the work every day in silence and isolation with relentless focus. And that's how you transform from who you are into who you're meant to be. Trust yourself even when no one else does. This is one of the hardest lessons you'll ever learn because it goes against every instinct to seek approval and validation from others. When you believe in yourself despite doubt from friends, family, or colleagues, you're stepping into a rare kind of strength. It's the strength to keep moving when the crowd turns away, to stand firm when voices around you say you're wrong, foolish, or unrealistic. Trusting yourself means owning your path and decisions, even if you're walking alone. Others will question your choices. They'll call your vision risky or impractical because it challenges their comfort zones. People tend to project their fears onto others if they wouldn't do it. They assume no one else should. Their doubt is not about you, it's about their own limits. When you internalize their doubt, you slow down. You hesitate, you start looking for permission that will never come. Trusting yourself cuts through all of that noise. It demands that you build confidence from within, from your preparation, your work ethic, your values rather than from external applause. Trusting yourself is not about arrogance. It's about clarity and conviction. It's about knowing your why and letting that be louder than the naysayers. When you trust yourself, you don't need to explain your vision or defend your grind. You don't need constant reassurance because you've done the work to earn that confidence. You know the late nights, the sacrifices, the failures, and you trust that these experiences are molding you into someone who can achieve what others say is impossible. There will be times when doubt creeps in, when fear knocks at the door and tries to convince you to stop. That's normal. The difference is what you do next. Trusting yourself means acknowledging those fears, but choosing to act anyway. It means making decisions based on your inner compass, not on the fluctuating opinions around you. It means developing mental toughness, the kind that keeps you steady in storms, steady when you face setbacks or criticism. The people who truly succeed are the ones who refuse to let others define their worth or dictate their direction. They trust their instincts, their preparation, and their resilience. They understand that the path to greatness is often lonely, but that loneliness is a price worth paying. Because on the other side of trust is freedom, freedom to create without limits, to push past obstacles, and to build a legacy that reflects your true potential. So when you feel isolated in your mission, when the world doubts you, remember that trusting yourself is your greatest weapon. Stand firm, keep moving forward, let your results speak louder than the noise. Trust is not given, it's earned through action, consistency, and belief. And once you have it, nothing can shake you. Discipline over dependency. Always, this simple phrase holds the key to unlocking your true potential and taking control of your life. Dependency is a trap disguised as comfort. It lulls you into believing that you need someone or something else to succeed, to feel secure, or to make decisions. Discipline, on the other hand, is the hard, unyielding force that builds your independence, sharpens your willpower, and drives you to act even when the world offers excuses. When you depend on others for motivation, validation, or direction, you give away your power. You allow external forces to dictate your pace, your mood, and your progress. That's dangerous because those external forces can disappear, change, or turn against you at any moment. Dependency breeds weakness. It erodes confidence. It makes you vulnerable to distractions and delays. The moment you lean too heavily on someone else, you risk losing yourself, your focus, your drive, your mission. Discipline is different. Discipline is internal. It doesn't wait for permission or a push from outside. It's self-driven, relentless, and consistent. Discipline means waking up early when you don't feel like it. It means doing the work when nobody's watching. It means making sacrifices today for a better tomorrow. Discipline builds habits that withstand temptation, fatigue, and doubt. It creates a foundation so strong that setbacks don't break you, they fuel you. Choosing discipline over dependency means owning your actions and your results. It means understanding that your success depends on your effort, your mindset, and your commitment, not on luck, connections, or the approval of others. This mindset sets you apart. It pushes you to create your own opportunities rather than waiting for someone else to hand them to you. It empowers you to solve your own problems rather than looking for a quick fix or a crutch. Dependency is the easy way out. It feels safer because it shifts responsibility away from you. But safety isn't progress. Comfort zones don't create champions. Discipline demands discomfort, sacrifice, and sometimes isolation. It requires that you push past excuses and distractions and stay locked in on your goals, no matter the cost. That's where true freedom lies, not in relying on others, but in mastering yourself. Every successful person knows this truth. Discipline is the bridge between goals and results. Without discipline, even the best plans fall apart. Without discipline, motivation fades and dreams stay dreams. But with discipline, you build momentum, you build resilience, you build a life that no one can take away from you. So choose discipline over dependency always. Make it your foundation, your weapon, your way of life. Because when you master discipline, you become unstoppable. You become the architect of your future, the commander of your destiny. And no matter what life throws at you, you stand firm, focused, and ready to win.